has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. All right, into the final hour of Coast to Coast on a Thirsty Thursday. Adam Kaplan later this very hour. So we shift gears now and go to the NBA.
Yeah, let's do a few things from last night before we get to tonight, which has a pretty good slate. Celtics beat the Pistons 130-120. Didn't cover. They really should have. They were up a ton in this game, and they let the Pistons come back in the fourth quarter and get themselves the cover. The Nets took care of the Pacers 99-90. We both liked the Nets as home dogs last night. Good win for them. Not the best effort from the Lakers last night in Miami against the Heat. 134-93. This included Tyler Hero going absolutely off. He hit 9 threes. 7 of them were in the third quarter. He hit every three he took in the third quarter on FanDuel Sportsnet Florida.
Tribute just doesn't seem to put it together consistently. Guess who's still feeling? Tyler Hero, 7 for 7 and a quarter from downtown.
Very exciting. Hero Sandwich getting involved.
On the other side of the coin, though, the Lakers with another subpar performance. Let's just say J.J. Redick not thrilled after the game.
It's easy to not want the ownership, particularly when it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. We're all embarrassed. That's not. It's not a game that I thought we had the right fight, the right professionalism. Not sure what was lost in translation. There has to be some ownership on the court, and I'll take all the ownership in the world. This is my team, and I lead it, and I'm embarrassed.
I'll tell you what, it's real simple. He's learning the hard way. He already knew that guys play to get paid and don't care to begin with in the NBA. When you're making tons of money, you don't care about anything, the weather, winning, losing, your family. You don't care about anything. They don't listen to coaches at the NBA level. They don't. They do not listen to coaches. They don't. And then they don't care if they get blown out. And he's learning now. He already knew that as a player. He already knew guys go through the motions. He already knows that guys, they tank games. When you're down 30, it's over. You know what I mean? There's a point where you're down 25, you're still in it. 30, 35, 40, it's over. And then it's, it just ugliness. Then you have to go in and face the music and talk about being embarrassed. But they got their ass beat, and there's nothing he can do about it because he knows now he has to see for himself that it doesn't matter if he's the coach or if Jesus is the coach. There are nights that these guys just absolutely take the night off and don't even try. They don't even want to play. They don't want to sweat. They don't want to run. They don't want to hustle. They don't want to give it anything. And that's just all there is to it. In the NBA, it happens every night. There's 2 or 3 teams that do it. And in college basketball, it doesn't really happen. In college basketball, these kids play their ass off. They want to win. Now, there's nights when teams get whacked. I think it's a talent discrepancy when there's, mismatches and bad games. But in the NBA, they're all pro and they're all paid and they're all millionaires. And every night there's 2 or 3 teams that just, last night, the Lakers and Clippers were identical twins. They both took the night off. And Ty Lue was literally on the sideline. I watched the game. He was on the sideline dapping players from the other team. Like, hey, what up? How you been, Ty? Oh, what's up, kid? Good to see you, baby. What up? You want a piece of gum? Like, I mean, it's embarrassing. The NBA is embarrassing. The way they just throw games. They don't care. They never have. I'm telling you, the only thing they care about is money and the playoffs. You think they give a rat's ass about these stupid regular season games? All that is for Adam Silver to fill his coffers.
That's all it's for. Magic beat the Sixers by 4. I think the number was 4.5, right? And they beat them by 4.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the number was 4.5. Hawks beat the Bucks 119-104. The Hawks have won 5 in a row. as they are playing some good ball right now. And as you mentioned, the Clippers with a paycheck game, they got blasted by the T-Wolves at the Intuit Dome. They were down 35 at the half. Randall went off in the first quarter. He had 16, FanDuel Sportsnet North.
In their face in the second half. Wow.
By Reed.
Talk about highlight reel kind of plays. Naz Reid and blocks.
Randall down the lane. Clippers are shooting sub 29% from the floor. Randall. Yes. Oh, it's a shooting clinic.
Yeah, I actually think that last night was the first night that the T-Wolves looked like the team that went on a run last year in the season and playoffs. They finally showed up. They finally looked like a team that cared. And that I thought the beginning of the season they've been sleepwalking. And I thought last night they looked like the T-Wolves.
Finally did start to break out of it a little bit. That's for sure. Right. Taking care of business. All right, we have lots of games tonight. Let's start to go through what we have, including starting with the Nuggets, who are in Cleveland against the Cavs. The Cavs, of course, 19-3 here to start the season. Best record in the NBA. Cavs minus 4.5, 234.5 the total tonight.
Yeah, I just think Cleveland plays great at the Rocket. I think they're going to beat the Nuggets tonight and cover. Spider's going to have a huge game, and that'll be that.
The Mavericks are looking for 6 in a row in D.C. against the Wizards. I don't think they're going to have a problem getting to 7 in a row, considering the Wizards haven't won a game in like a month and a half. But how about 14.5 that they're laying here in this game? 2 tutties and a hook, 232.5 the total.
I think this is going to be ugly tonight in D.C., and I think the Mavericks, unless they take the night off, if you will, our famous paycheck game, take the night off game, because this could be one where like, oh, Jesus, we got to play them. Oh, my God, I'm not even going to try. This should be the easiest win that they have on their schedule. They should win by 20. They are so much better than the Wizards. It's not even funny. They should win by 20.
They should win by 20. Will they is another story. If you like big spreads, we got another one for you. We got another 14 and a hook for the Hornets in the Garden against the Knicks tonight. So 14.5 for the Knicks, 217.5 is the total.
Did you see what the Knicks did to the Pelicans the other night? That's what they're going to do to the Hornets tonight at the Garden. They're going to beat their ass.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get much resistance from Charlotte tonight, especially when you consider, how shorthanded they are and that the Knicks are much better than them. I could lay the 14.5 there. The Thunder are in Toronto against the Raptors. They're 9.5-point road favorites with a 225.5.
I'm going to take the Raptors and the points based on how they cover every night. Okay, so yep. I'm going to finally jump on this bandwagon of Raptors covers. I mean, they cover every night. And not only that, in the last week and a half, they've been winning every night. How about the upset outright tonight with the Raptors over to Thunder in Toronto?
Ooh, outright. How about that? We'll come back. I've got 4 more games tonight, including a good late night one. The Rockets against the Warriors out at the Chase. They're going to play next week in that knockout round for the NBA Cup. They'll get together tonight first. So we'll do that. We've got a few college basketball games. We've got hockey, several other things to do before you talk to Adam.
All right, so we got to get it all in, and I have no problem with that. So let's dance. We'll get the rest of these NBA in, hit the hockey. Everybody loves hockey.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoff.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Fillet Indiana. They would smash them. Honestly,
you listen to yourself speak? That's not a reality question. They have not played each other. You are using hypothetical.
And they got embarrassed.
As so many
if
teams
they would
do.
Have won that football. Yes, that's you're
but that's the thing, guys. No. Stop.
The only argument is Indiana is a decent football team and a product of their environment.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
He shouldn't need to hire outside help at this point to be able to help him, let alone outside help, Joe, that used to work for him.
Until they get him out of the way, I just don't see how this gets any better. And like you said, who are you picking from? Because most people who know the league want nothing to do with the ownership group there with the Jets.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, so we got a few more NBA games to hit here and make some money.
We certainly do. We'll go with the Kings first, who are in Memphis tonight to take on the Grizzlies. Grizz minus 3.5. Heavy total here, 241.5. Big total.
Yeah, I like the Grizzlies here. I think the Kings have been kind of Malaise City for my money. Like, I like Sabonis and Fox and Monk and that team, and I just haven't liked the way they've played. They were as boring as Minnesota's been the first month and a half, right? Like, so the Grizzlies are tough every single night, and they're at home on Beale Street. I'll lay the 3.5 with Ja and company. And people are mad he's not dunking. Who cares if he puts the ball in the hole and they win games?
That really is all that matters as long as you're going and doing that. The Suns are in New Orleans tonight against the Pelicans. Suns minus 1.5. 222.5, the total. We're going to have to see. Now, no Durant, obviously, for the Suns tonight, but, I mean, even without him,
Something
you'd think they'd be favored by a little bit more, right? I mean, you'd think they'd be a little bit more than 1.5. I know the Pelicans have gotten some of their bodies back, gotten a few guys back, so maybe that kind of factors into it, too.
Yeah, there's no way I'm betting on them.
Yeah, I'm not betting on the Pelicans either. There's absolutely no shot that I'm going to be involved there. The Bulls are in San Antonio against the Spurs tonight. Spurs minus 2.5. You will have the Bulls, the total 236.5. I don't believe you got Wembanyama tonight, Scotty. Pretty sure Wembanyama not playing for the Spurs
I'll still
tonight.
take the Spurs. I don't care. I'll still take him. As you know, he's not playing. Go the other way. No, I'm still sticking with San Antonio. They're better than the Bulls.
They are better than the Bulls. I'm not gonna, and they've been pretty good this year so far. The Spurs at 11-10, good for what they've been the past few years. That's for sure. Rockets and the Warriors, the late night game, 10 o'clock East tip out at the Chase. Rockets minus 3.5, 219.5 is the total.
Yeah, listen, the Warriors have been losing left and right. What, 5 in a row, 4 in a row at least? I'll take that number with the Dubs at the Chase. They play a lot differently in San Francisco than they do everywhere else. I think the Rockets are better than the Dubs. This is a preview of the Cup game. They're playing them in the Cup game round in the quarters.
Yes, but I will tell you this, and this is why the Rockets are favored. This is why when we see a line, we got to make sure who's in and who's out. No Curry, no Green for the Warriors tonight. So no Steph and no Draymond in this game against the Rockets this evening. No, neither of those guys are playing.
Which is the exact opposite of what I said to do with the Spurs. But when both of those guys are out, when both of them are out, do you really think they're beating the Rockets? No way.
No.
They only care about that quarterfinal in the NBA Cup. That's all there is to it. That's why they're not playing tonight. There's nothing wrong with Curry.
Yeah, there's not. And that's next week, Wednesday night in Houston is when they play again. So next week, that quarterfinal game. So the Warriors are they're giving some guys the night off here ahead of that game with Houston in town.
Just
tonight.
what
So
the
there you go.
NBA needs. Let's have games where none of the star players play. Same problem they've always had.
You know, and I know it's not a national TV doubleheader tonight, but it is an NBA TV doubleheader, and that's the second game of the NBA TV doubleheader, so you don't get Curry and Green in that game. It is what it is, but they asked for this. Guys sit from now and then.
It's a disaster.
We did some of the... It is. There you go. Your night in the NBA, lots of guys not playing, especially in some of those late games. College, we went through most of this stuff from last night. Duke with a great game. Flag was awesome. Creighton upsetting number 1 Kansas. Iowa State beat Marquette by 11, and honestly, they handled them the whole night from pillar to post. They came out, got a big lead on them, and they just coasted after that. Alabama smashed North Carolina at their place. UConn finally beat a team with a pulse this year as they beat Baylor 76-72. Florida whacked Virginia. I did not expect Pitt to lose by 33 at Mississippi State last night. I mean, they got smashed. Like you said before, in college, sometimes you get games like that, but it ain't because guys aren't trying. It's just the matchups just aren't there, and for whatever reason, Mississippi State just tore them apart. And Oregon beat USC 68-60.
And
that was a late night game, and they covered. Only a couple games of significance tonight that I will give you. Purdue and Penn State in the Big Ten. Nittany Lions minus 1.5 here. How about that at home against Purdue? And Xavier is a 1.5 favorite in that Big East Big 12 down in Fort Worth against TCU.
Yeah, I like Purdue to win at Penn State, and I like TCU to win at home over Xavier.
Yeah, I'm with you on those. That's for sure. There's really not anything else good in college basketball. I'm sure you're not too excited by, Wright State and Oakland in the horizon. You do have a couple about St. Louis and the Dons late night. You got that game as well. If that gets you the Dons going. And I always love when Cal Poly and UC Davis get together as the Big West starts some of their conference games as well. Give you Davis. We'll give you Davis in that one. We will come back and we'll do the hockey
Everybody loves
for
hockey
tonight as we do. And in fact, I even have some Spew News hockey for you, believe it or not, as we have I think it's our second, right? Montgomery was we have a chopped coach in the NHL. So this will be the second, right? Montgomery was the first?
Yes.
Third chopped coach. Blues, Bruins, and now the Chicago Blackhawks, who chopped Luke Richardson today as their head coach. So Luke Richardson out.
Bedard finding out what it's like to be in the NHL now, firmly finding out how tough it is to win in Chicago, even with him around.
The immortal Andre Sorensen has been named the interim coach for the Blackhawks.
Have you seen anything like it? Like, that kid was supposed to be generational, turn that franchise upside down and win Stanley Cups. And they suck even with him.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, let's talk pucks because everybody loves hockey.
Everybody does love hockey. Off of Luke Richardson getting chopped in Chicago, we give you the best and the worst money line in the NHL this year. We finally played enough games where we're going to start working this in on a weekly basis. The Capitals have netted bettors plus 9.9 units so far this year. The Jets, the Wild, the Blue Jackets, and the Blues also in the plus category. And the Predators, minus 14.4 units, followed by, of course, look who's after him, Scotty. The Islanders and the Penguins cost everybody money this year at the window. That's just amazing. The Islanders and the Penguins.
I mean, look at the facts. The Jets have been losing. They're on the winning side. The Jets have been losing left and right. They've lost like 4 in a row. And the Penguins have been winning. Somehow, inexplicably, they've been winning. They won the other night. They beat the Panthers in overtime, so they've been winning. They've been playing better. So, obviously, and, how is that possible? The Blues are 12 and 14, but they're making everybody a bunch of money. The Jackets are 11 and 13. They're making people a bunch of money.
Because they're big. They're getting wins as big dogs. So you got to remember that number on those nights where they're plus 275, plus 300. You win a couple of those, and that makes up for losing, 3 or 4 games. Like when you win one of those. So they've had a couple of big upsets this year, which helps fatten up the pot. Over and under, we love teams that play fast and loose. The Jackets, 16-7 to the over, playing lots of high-scoring games. Meanwhile, the Predators, maybe that's why they're costing people so many money. They can't score. They have the most unders in the NHL this year with 17 unders. Amazing.
I'm surprised the Kings are on that and Leafs are on that list of the unders. But then again, they could just be playing good defense. The Kings won last night. They were down to Dallas, but they beat them. I hit all 4 of those bets last night in the NHL.
Yes. Leafs, Bruins, Vegas, Kings. Win. Everybody came through in the NHL last night. And one bit of bad news for the Stars, although honestly, unfortunately for him, this guy never plays anymore anyway. Tyler Seguin out 4 to 6 months with hip surgery. It sucks. I feel like this is like the third or fourth year in a row where he's missed like 4 to 6 months with something. Sagan misses a lot of time.
Once they start operating on your hips in the NHL, you're finished.
It's not a good scene. Not at all. We got a lot of games tonight. Why don't we start in Buffalo? First time we're seeing the Sabres since they yacked up that 4-goal first period lead against Colorado the other night. Tonight they have Winnipeg in, who, as you said, has not been winning games. Winnipeg's the road favorite. Nashville favored on the road in Montreal. Detroit in Ottawa tonight. The Sharks getting a nice number in Tampa against the Lightning. And the Panthers heavy road favorites in Philadelphia against the Flyers.
Okay, I'm going to take the Sabres after that performance. And they beat themselves up for blowing that 4-0 lead against the Avalanche. They actually played really well in that game and then barfed all over themselves. Winnipeg's stumbling right now, playing bad hockey. I'll take a shot with the Sabres one last time. I'm going to go with the Canadiens again. The other night, they got that Suzuki overtime winner against your boys. I'm going to take them again at the Bell Center. I think the Predators are highly overrated. Every night, they're favored, and they never win. I'm going to go Ottawa at home, Tampa at home, Panthers in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo against the Flyers are just flat out better.
And we also have Colorado still out east. They are in Carolina tonight against the Canes. Of course, Carolina minus about $1.50. The Islanders are at the horse track against Seattle tonight. Can they actually win at home? We'll see. The Blues, who we just talked about, plus money for them tonight in Calgary against the Flames, and heavy lumber for the Oilers against those Blue Jackets in Edmonton.
So Montgomery took over that Blues job, right? So he's back in St. Louis, kind of where it all started for him. I'll take them with an upset in Calgary. I like the Oilers at Rogers Place tonight at home. I like the Islanders at the horse track. And I like the Canes in Raleigh because they lost the other night at home. They're not losing 2 in a row at home.
There it is. Big night in hockey.
Everybody loves hockey.
Yes. And I saw Islander, you talk about a sparse crowd. I just saw people complaining. You can get Islander tickets at the horse track tonight for like $6. Walk in on StubHub. You just walk right up to the horse track. The Island faithful not showing up for a weeknight game against Seattle. That's for sure. They just don't want to be there.
I'd go to that game.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
So fans clamor for Adam Kaplan, our NFL insider. Every Thursday, I had a guy at the gym say to me, I only watch on Thursdays when Kaplan's on. I'm like, you don't watch the rest of the week? He goes, no, I've never liked you. That's what he said to me.
Really?
And I was like, okay. He goes, but I love Kaplan. You have followed the NFL for almost 30 years. You can follow him at Kaplan NFL on X, and you catch a double shot with him here every Thursday on C2C, including in the second shot, bust a cap in yo ass, which has become notorious OG on C2C. But we start with Thursday Night Intel, a big one in Detroit Rock City, the Motor City tonight at Ford Field. What a battle in the North. The 9-3 Packers taking on the 11-1 Lions, who beat them at Lambeau by 10. What do we got tonight?
Yeah, can't wait for this game. You don't have to worry about weather. This game is indoors in Detroit. And let's not forget, though, the Packers went into their last year in Detroit on Thanksgiving. That was a breakout game for Jordan Love. He was terrific since then. But tonight, let's hit the injuries first because they're going to impact this matchup. Let's start with the Packers. Romeo Doubs, who's a starting receiver, he's going to miss his second straight game due to concussion. But, Scott, to me, it's not a big deal. Dontavian Wicks, who's a second-year receiver who they absolutely love, he'll fill in for him. Quite frankly, I think he's a better football player. That's not a big deal. Now, their best corner, Jair Alexander, is out. Now, Scott, they've been able to win without him. This is his third straight game he's going to miss, and his sixth game he's going to miss this season. They've been able to win without him. Yeah, you like to have him based on the fact that they're facing the Lions, who have a high-powered offense, particularly in the passing game, but they've been able to win without him. Now, let's get to the Lions. Now, you mentioned the Lions at 11-1, and obviously if they win this game, that pretty much salts away the Packers from trying to win the division. Of course, the Vikings are somehow only have 2 losses. But for the Lions here, I was talking to Craig Mish about this on Monday on the Newswire show. If you really look at, Scott, their injury issues, they're almost all in the front 7. They're down 8 players in their front 7. Now, when I say that, starters and backups, not all starters, but they're down 3 defensive linemen and 3 inside backers, Scott. That is really difficult. We'll talk about the number tonight in a minute, but that to me is tough. And and the thing about the Packers is, man, they will run the football with Josh Jacobs. They stay on schedule. They're a balanced team with Matt LaFleur. These West Coast offensive coaches, they like to run the football. That is not good for the Lions, who barely beat the Bears. Remember, they almost choked that game. Came real close to choking that game. That obviously cost Matt Eberflus his job. One of the reasons why Eberflus was fired. But the bottom line is I would be very concerned if I'm the Lions and their injuries. Now, I should add, some of these guys will be back by the end of the season. Some won't. Malcolm Rodriguez, who's been their top backup linebacker, he's out for the season with an ACL injury. Alex Anzalone, we talked about him last week with the broken left forearm, looking him back for the playoffs. So, Scott, when you look at this matchup here, it's the battle of attrition here. Who's the healthiest? And clearly, the Packers are right now.
Yeah, and then with all those injuries, their defense has got to be weakened, and you would think there's going to be a lot of scoring in that game tonight. Yep. But I want to ask you about something else entirely. We believe on this show, we've been talking, Carver High and I, about the Eagles, how I think they're the team that can beat the Lions in the NFC, and that it's them. It's not the Packers. I think the Packers are legit. I just think the Eagles are certainly more legit. I think the Eagles have been proving to me that they're the most dangerous team in the NFC outside of the Lions. And I think that the Eagles would beat the Packers, and any other poser wildcard teams that get into this tournament are not beating the Eagles. The Eagles are going to be the Lions' problem.
Yeah, I would agree with you because they're one of the healthiest teams if you look at it. and their offense has been phenomenal. They're not going to have Dallas Goedert. Their tight end could be a while. He's got a knee injury, which he unfortunately happened in the fourth quarter of the last game where they won against Baltimore. But I think overall, Scott, you're right. They're primed to do it. They're playing great football. I'm surprised at how good the Eagles are. I had them at 11-6 this season. They're clearly going to surpass that. And by the way, when you look at schedules, the Lions in my grading have the fourth or third highest schedule, depending on a couple things. But they have a way harder schedule the Lions do than the Eagles, and that matters because, quite frankly, when you look at the Eagles situation, them winning and dominating, let's not underestimate this. They were down 9-0, then absolutely rolled at Baltimore. That was a super impressive win. By far the most impressive win this season in Baltimore.
And don't they play the Steelers next week at the Link?
They do. That's the hard one, Scott. That is the hard one. That's a 4:25 game. That game will not be flexed. They also have to face Washington, where they've played pretty well over the years. Then Philly finishes with the Cowboys, who they embarrass, and the Giants, who are pretty bad. So they've got a better schedule here. And by the way, your Steelers are rolling right now. Russell Wilson, I give them credit. We talked about that tough loss or that tough game, the snow game, on that short week, an emotional game after they beat the Ravens and they came up short at Cleveland. But that was a really good bounce back last week. And they're another team right now that's super dangerous, your Steelers.
Well, I think the Packers and Lions, getting back to them, I mean, they got brutal games to follow. The Packers have to go to Seattle, and the Lions have the Bills.
I can't wait for that. That one is going to be awesome, and we'll talk about the Bills in a couple minutes here. But yeah, the Lions here, it's just, can they survive? This is a huge game tonight. And think about it. If the Lions lose tonight and the Eagles win, then the Eagles are clearly be the favorite for home field, getting that number one seed. And again, the Vikings, Scott, nobody gives them respect. Somehow they only have 2 losses.
Let's talk about Deontay Johnson on his third team in literally 2 years. He got traded to Carolina, then he moved to Baltimore, then he refuses to go in the game, and now he's been suspended. What is the problem with this guy?
Yeah, there are a couple of things here that I want to talk about. We'll talk about this one first, and there's another story on defense, which is also surprising. So Deontay Johnson went out of Pittsburgh. That's the real story. He wanted out of there, and he got traded to Carolina. It didn't work there. And when you look at this situation, when he gets traded to Baltimore, they already had pretty good depth. He was just added for depth. I don't think he was happy with his role. And Scott, for 4 games that he was available for, he had 1 catch on 5 targets. He obviously was not happy. But when you refuse to go into a game, I got to tell you, when reading the transcript that I got from the Ravens on Monday after the game against the Eagles, and when John Harbaugh was cryptic, and they're going into their bye, he wouldn't say exactly what the issue was. But now we know what it is. And it was almost like, okay, is he bench or are you going to cut him? Because remember, as you said, they traded for him. They did give up draft compensation, not a lot to get him, and he's on the final year of his deal. I know he's frustrated. But Scott, it's not just the Deontay Johnson situation, which is ridiculous. Marcus Williams, Scott, who's making $12 million this season, he got benched 2 weeks ago. This is one of the highest paid safeties in football, over $14 million a year, and he's making $14 this season, and he got benched for Darius Washington. So you look at these 2 veteran players or pretty talented players who don't have a role right now. This is team turmoil. What is going on with the Ravens? You don't hear a lot about this stuff, but we're hearing about it now. What's going on?
It sounds like they're malcontents.
I think here's the thing with Marcus Williams got benched right now. Harbaugh was asked about it. He basically said more or less it's for performance, and that's fine. But this is not good. When you're trying to – right now about the Ravens, Scott, let's call it like it is. With the Broncos way ahead of schedule, it's no longer trying to win a division. It's about trying to make the playoffs. Like that loss against Philly, they got humiliated at home. The kicker is struggling. Justin Tucker has never kicked like this before, this poorly. They got a lot of negativity going around with the Ravens team right now, and it's certainly very surprising.
I saw him live in Pittsburgh miss 2. Then I saw him this week miss 2 and hit an upright. I mean, the guy's a mess. And the key is I see him, he's going left, he's going right. He's trying to fix it in the game, and he used to kick it straight down the middle, and now he's going left, he's going right, he's hitting uprights, he's missing wide left, wide right. Like, he's a mess right now psychologically. We come back with another shot with Adam Kaplan.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Fans clamor for bust a cap in your ass. It's coming up, but we got other things to deal with first, like key injury updates and lineup changes. Let's start with the Bills. They're going for their 8th straight win, and boy, did they look good in the snow against the Niners, finishing off San Francisco's season.
Yeah, and look, Carver's got to be loving this. As Mike always says, though, you got to win in the playoffs, and I agree with him. They're on an absolute roll here. Now, the big one, this is big because they've gotten healthier. They got Matt Milano back, who's their best defensive player, one of the best coverage linebackers of football last week. And Dalton Kincaid, who has that sprained left knee, he started to work this week. And today was a big day. They got to see how he feels tomorrow. So he's close to returning. And, Scott, it's really big because as good as Dawson Knox has done of a job filling in for Kincaid, when they run 12 personnel, getting Kincaid back, who's a better athlete than Knox, is huge. Again, you look at why are these teams doing so well? Your Steelers, we mentioned the Eagles. It's health. Yes, the Bills have a lot of players listed on their injury report, but almost all of them are going to play. And this is huge. This is why they're in such good shape. Now, for the Rams, Allard Jackson, their left tackle, has had this lingering foot injury. They think he's going to go. Injuries are not the problem with the Rams here. They've just been wildly inconsistent. The Bills, by the way, are still very good on the road. Now, people point, Scott, to the 2 losses they had back-to-back at Baltimore and at Houston. But since then, they've been terrific. And Sean McDermott's got this team rolling right now. And you got to give their coaching staff overall credit. They're great. They're absolutely great. And I underestimated how good the Bills are. And you also cannot underestimate coaching. You got to give Sean and his staff credit. And look, the marriage between Joe Brady and Josh Allen's working. He's not turning it over. I know they don't have a downfield passing offense, which I know they want. They'll address it in the offseason. They're going to have to add some speed at receiver. But it's efficient. James Cook, Dalvin Cook's brother, has been phenomenal at running back. They're an excellent team, and they're a team. That's one I'd like to have back. I wish I would have picked them over the Jets this season, but I didn't.
Fail. All right, Chargers and Chiefs.
Yes,
what about this great game at Arrowhead?
Yeah, and we got to talk about this one because do not underestimate the loss of J.K. Dobbins, the running back. You know, he's come back from an ACL injury, torn Achilles. He was phenomenal till he got hurt 2 weeks ago. He's on IR. Gus Edwards is filling in for him. Both played for Greg Roman, their offense coordinator for the Chargers when they were all with the Ravens. This changes their offense. They're a run-based offense. They don't have that juice in the backfield. They're a completely different team. You saw it last week. They're in trouble against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs, by the way, we got to talk about this. So people want to know what is going on with the Chiefs offense. I know they continue to win, but they look stagnant. It's been their left tackle position. They've gone through not only two left tackles. Joe Tooney got moved over from guard to left tackle last week. They've actually played 3 different left tackles. They're going to use DJ Humphries, who just signed last week for a 1-year deal with $5 million. Scott, when he is ready to play, he's going to be their left tackle. It's never good when you're changing left tackles this late in the season. They've got to get better protection for Patrick Mahomes, a right-handed passer. That's his blind side. And overall, Scott, their offense has not been what they thought it would be. They're hoping to get Hollywood Brown back from his significant shoulder injury by week 17 or week 18. But the bottom line is they got to get the left tackle position right, and it starts this week.
All right, everyone loves bust a cap in your ass. This is the last Sunday with 11 games. Starting in week 15, everybody plays. The buys are over. So let's start with the Jets at Hard Rock in Miami Gardens against the Fins. Miami's laying 5.5.
Yeah, I like the Dolphins to take care of business. Terrible loss last week. They'll bounce back. The Jets didn't score a point last week in the second half after a good start. They're reeling right now. Dolphins take care of business.
By the way, when I was out and you were doing it with Carver High, he failed to mention to you that I went 11-1 against the spread that week in the NFL. Not a bad weekend, I got to tell you. All right, Atlanta, Minnesota at the bank in Minneapolis. Vikings laying 5.5.
What is wrong with Kirk Cousins? He goes against his former team. The Vikings, who generally take care of business, not always, but take care of business at home, they'll get it done against the Falcons.
All right, what a game. I wouldn't walk around the corner to see it. The Saints and G-Men Big Blue at Snoopy. Giants getting 4.5 with Locke as the quarterback again.
Ticket brokers day off there at MetLife. I like the Saints to take care of business here. Oof, what an awful game.
Oh, the Saints are awful. Oh, they're so awful. I almost don't believe it. Carolina and Philly at the Link. Eagles laying 12.5.
Yeah, that is too big. You know, these favorites over 7.5 or 8 don't usually cover. But Carolina, terrible loss. You got to think they're demoralized. Eagles won by 2 touchdowns and more.
I mean, Carolina's been covering every single week, and I think Bryce Young's been playing really well. That might be a number I'd be interested in. Cleveland in Pittsburgh. I sold my tickets for this one because I'm going to the Bengals game and the playoff game. Steelers laying 7. Revenge game after the Snow Bowl.
I'm with you. I like the Steelers to cover. That was a bad loss and a tough loss for Jameis Winston and the Browns. He did it again. Turn it over when you can't do it. Steelers cover.
Vegas is at Tampa at Raymond James. The Buccaneers are laying 6.5.
How about Aiden O'Connell, the gunslinger, was phenomenal last week. He's going to do it against a Bucs secondary that doesn't play very well. I like the Raiders to shock the world and actually cover this number.
Wow. Jacksonville at Tennessee. Lawrence is done. They get the old Pats quarterback now for the rest of the season. Tennessee at home laying 3.5.
I like Mac Jones and another ticket broker's day off there in Nashville. I like the Jaguars to cover this number.
Seattle's at Arizona in the toaster in the desert. Zona laying 2.5.
Yeah, Arizona. Look, they haven't been great lately, but they're better at home. I like them to cover this number.
Buffalo and the Rams at SoFi in Lipstick City. Buffalo laying 3.5.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. Buffalo all the way here against a reeling Rams team that's wildly inconsistent.
The Bears are miserable. They're playing the equally miserable Niners. Everyone's Super Bowl favorite. Wrong. San Francisco laying 4.
I like the Niners to handle this number.
I do too. The Sunday night game, Chargers at Chiefs at Arrowhead, Kansas City laying 4.
This should be a low-scoring game. I like the Chiefs to take care of this number. I know they're not playing great, but the Chargers cannot run the football, and they cannot win and cover it at KC.
There he is, the one and only Adam Kaplan, who's experiencing wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour right now in Philadelphia. You guys deserve it.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. Brady, I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Everybody loves leftovers.
Everybody does love leftovers, and I have a lot of baseball in leftovers for you because the hot stove is heating up, especially with the winter meetings. Winter meetings are next week, and that's usually when you start to get all the huge deals from the offseason, and Juan Soto is obviously the biggest. Let me first start with this. The A's signed Luis Severino to a 3-year, $67 million deal. Believe it or not, that is the biggest contract that franchise has ever given out. The previous high was like 65 million. So 67 million for Luis Severino, gets a 3-year deal. Remember, they're going to be in Sacramento next year, playing in that minor league ballpark. And they allegedly are going to up their payroll to around 100 million. So that's one way to start by getting Luis Severino on the team. Now, the Soto stuff is allegedly going to come to an end before the winter meetings on Monday. There was a report this morning that the Yankees will allegedly have a final shot to match or exceed Soto's best offer. John Heyman just tweeted 5 minutes ago that that's the Yankees have not been told that they will be given a last chance to match any high offer. I hope it ends as soon as possible because, quite frankly, I'm sick of it already. Every team is still in. Everyone but the Yankees have offered $600 million. Pick a team, right? I mean, honestly, at this point, just pick a team. You know, you've met with all the teams. You've gotten offers. Decide who you're playing for. Am I right or am I wrong? Let's talk.
You're right, and I think it's going to end poorly for us.
It's going to end poorly for the Yankees. So the Yankees have already started to talk about contingency plans. One of them, Willy Adames, who, of course, had 32 homers for the Brewers last year, Max Fried, pitcher for the Braves, also the Yankees have discussed with. Corbin Burns, the Yankees have discussed with. There's several teams that have been in the mix for Burns. And the Yankees have also talked to the Cubs about Cody Bellinger, but the Astros and Mariners have also been in the mix with Chicago about Bellinger. So it sounds like, Scotty, and we've known this, we've kind of laid this out, the Yankees are either going to get Soto or they might be in the mix for 2, 3, 4 other guys and might get all those guys because they'd probably be the same amount as they would have spent on Soto.
You know, it actually sounds more appealing to me having 4 or 5 guys for the money that they would have spent on one guy, where all of those guys that we are talking about here today have some level of success and skill, without a doubt. So if you get your hands on 4 or 5 of those guys, you can't tell me that's not better than getting one guy. I don't care what the one guy does or how big he is. You pay one guy for 15 years, that kind of money, you're going to regret it. That's just all there is to it.
And we've already heard that they haven't gone over 600, allegedly, and that it could get as high as 7 between the Mets and Toronto and these other teams that are. Toronto's trying to throw money around. I mean, they're in on the Burns situation as well. So Toronto's doing their best to spend some money. The Giants are trying to spend money. Nothing will happen, though, until Juan Soto decides where he wants to go.
Well, let's just get it over with then. Ferrall finish time. A student was arrested for trying to sneak meth-soaked T-shirts through a hidden compartment in his suitcase at LAX. Now, you got to give him credit. I mean, that's a hell of an effort. That's a hell of a try. That's a hell of a risk. Like, he's probably shaking, sweating, had it all figured out. Went in there, and then the TSA nabs his suitcase. Whenever there's liquid involved, they always find the liquid. There's always the liquid problem. If you have a liquid in your bag, you're going to pull that bag, and they're going to find the liquid. They're going to treat you like a prisoner. Bottom line is, you got to love the guy, though, with the meth-soaked T-shirts. That's better than the meth and the peppers. That is just fantastic. Baby boy found dead in the Bronx died of cocaine intoxication. The little baby was crawling around and finally got his hands on some blow and did some gaggers outside of his crib in the apartment in the Bronx. Can't have it. Indebted business associate executes a California couple over $80,000 and for good measure took him out into the desert and set him on fire. That is fantastic. Charlie Manson admitting to more murders in a newly revealed phone call from prison. I wonder if Biden's going to let Charlie out with a pardon like he did his son, no? GTD is next. Check out my app. Just search Ferrall. You're going to love it. I got avatars on there running things now. I got avatars, Carver High, on there. Like people that look like other people, but they're not real. It's crazy. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on Coast to Coast.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have it. Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.